You are listening to the Marc Guzman Podcast Experience. Rentals and immigration laws. With Assembly Bill 291 CHU, California law extends its civil rights law to individuals regardless of citizenship, primary language, or immigration status. So, what are prohibited actions? As a landlord or property manager, you cannot make inquiries regarding or based on the immigration or citizenship status of a tenant. You cannot require statements or documentation concerning immigration or citizenship status. You cannot disclose information regarding or relating to the immigration or citizenship status to any person or entities such as law enforcement, immigration authorities, with the intent of intimidating, retaliating, influencing the tenant, or in a case of recovering possession. You cannot influence a tenant to vacate by threatening to disclose information about their status. So, what are lawful actions? A landlord or property manager can request information or documentation necessary to determine the financial qualifications of a prospective tenant or verify the identity of a prospective tenant or occupant. A landlord or manager can comply with a subpoena, warrant, or other order issued by a court, and a landlord can comply with any legal obligation under federal law. So, what are the penalties for violating the law? If a court finds that a landlord has violated the law requires the court to 1. Award statutory damages of 6 to 12 times the monthly rent charges. 2. Issue injunctive relief to prevent landlord from engaging in similar conduct. 3. Award attorney fees and costs to prevailing party. 4. Notify the district attorney of the county in which the property is located that the landlord potentially violated extortion provisions of the Penal Code Section 519. Now, what are defenses to eviction actions? This law prohibits a landlord from causing a tenant or occupant to move out of the unit involuntarily or filing an unlawful detainer action, also known as an eviction, based on the immigration or citizenship status of a tenant, occupant, or other person known to the landlord to be associated with a tenant or occupant. Now, request for identification. Every owner's application screening process is affected by this law. Applications cannot require a specific type of identification, such as a state-issued driver license. Reason for this is because there's different types of government-issued identification forms, and undocumented people can now obtain driver license. You can ask for an applicant to provide a government-issued photo identification. This would be solely for the purpose of verifying the identity of the applicant. So if someone provides a passport issued by a government other than the United States, for example, I recently received a passport issued by the Mexican government, accept it because it is only being used to verify the identity of the applicant. So how are social security numbers and credit reports affected? Well, most credit screening companies now have the ability to perform credit reviews using individual tax identification numbers, also known as ITINs, or a visa coupled with other identifying information. A social security number is not always needed. Now, what if there's lacking information on a credit report? Well, even if a credit company can perform a credit check with no social security numbers provided, the information eventually obtained in the credit search may not be sufficient for a property owner to qualify an applicant. You want to allow applicants to provide additional documentation. You can build information in a history on their ability to pay with documents from other credit sources that do not necessarily show up on a credit report. For example, regular monthly bills that are phone bills, utility bills, rent, etc. If you accept a tenant but require a higher deposit due to insufficient credit history, this is known as accepting with conditions. You must provide the tenant a notice of conditional acceptance.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Thank you to our producer, Sam Lubman. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share the podcast. Remember, you can listen to the podcast on iTunes, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Google Play, SoundCloud, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. For more information on my business as a property manager and real estate team, go visit my website at markguzman.com.